whom I admire for his support, finally congratulated me for the production of the leukocyte antigen. I remember that it was snowing in Tirana that night before the confrontation with the medical commission. It was January, and I was accompanied by my two sons, Alban and Dritan. After presenting my project, the members of the medical commission replied that they could not understand anything of my project because such medical projects went beyond their medical and scientific education. In this condition, I injected first the B vaccine and then the cancerous genes to my sons and myself. Then I asked for voluntaries from the Commission to be injected only with the cancerous antigens. Then immediately they reacted against my actions, simultaneously showing fear. In the end, I stated that it was a waste of time to go on with such confrontations. I have and I will persistently advocate my project independently from the situation. These were the same words uttered in the court of Shkodër in 1967 when I was convicted for 4 months. When I met the Minister of Health, I suggested him to bring a scientific commission from abroad, since he restated that his commission failed to examine my project, although I knew that this was totally prohibited by the past regime. To conclude, the Minister of Health decided not to stop my research, although he could not fully support it. During many years, I treated patients with outer cancerous injuries such as on the skin or on the throat known as blastoma. They were all fully recovered. This cancerous injury of the ligament tissue is very rare and is known as myosarcoma. This cancer patient was successfully treated 40 years ago. Except these cases, I also presented some cases of inner cancer diseases that I have successfully treated with a B vaccine heterologous anti-cancerous human. In 1977, this woman suffered from the breast cancer, touching the liver and the pneumons too. Her health state was grave. The oncologic department in Tirana refused to operate her. She was gradually treated with a B vaccine for 1.5 years. She was interviewed in 2004 and today she leads a healthy life. The second case has to do with an adolescent diagnosed with cancer in 1985. His disease was scientifically known as morbus Hodgkin, especially found in young ages. The symptoms are big glandules and the patient dies all of a sudden after losing his senses. In 2004, this patient is fully recovered as a result of being cured with the vaccine. The woman in this photo suffered from the malign cancer in the breast. As a result, her liver was gravely damaged. In 2004, after being treated with 6 doses of the vaccine, she fully recuperated. Now look at these photos. This is a very special case. A preclinical diagnosis of cancer diseases is made possible through an injected polyantigen. This is very important because the sooner cancer is detected and treated, the better a person's chance for recuperation. Here are shown the cancerous cells on the lymphoblastic cells in their dividing process, whereas here are shown the tissues touched by the malign cancerous cells. Now look at these cancerous cells, which start to disappear after only 24 hours of injecting the B vaccine. The results appear in this photo. The antigen is in the center of many positive cells. This is known as the Gallagher method or the immunodiffusion method in the diagnosis process.
Rasti i dytë kemi të bëjmë me një adoleshent që ishte fëmijë atë kohë, në vitin 1985. Ky vunte nga një smundje kanceroze që quhet morbus Hodgkin, që prek zakonisht fëmijët dhe prek edhe moshat të tjera. Është një smundje e rëndë se manifestohet me gjandra dhe sidomos kur vjen në mjedisin, në gjioksin, hormon gjandra shumë të mëdha tumorale, rreziku i tij des nga një asfiksi dhe pa arrit të bëjë smundja punën e vet. Ndërsa këtu është mas 3 muaj mjekimit, ndërsa këtu në 2004 i bëhet përsëri një radiografi dhe është ndjenë shumë mirë. Kjo është një gru e cila kishte një tumor malign në gjoks, në zi, por që ishte dhënë metastazën në mushni. E shikoni këtu se sa mushnia sa dëmtu, ka një masë madhe tumorale medicinale, edhe në mushni këtu, dhe mas mjekimit, po edhe kjo, po me vaksinë, po me këtë rregull të vaksinimit nga 6 doza, që janë pa, arrin, ka si shërohet edhe intervista 2004. Këtu kemi rast interesant për shembull, që nëpërmjet vaksinës, nëpërmjet një poliantigeni nga rruga vaksinës, po ndërpritet disa faza, nxirret një poliantigen i cili i jep efekt jashtëzakonshëm diagnostikues paraklinik, para se shfaqet smundja. Pra ka një rëndësi jashtëzakonisht madhe në prevenimin e rasteve të reja kancerit. Në atë kohë mund të mjekohet të shërohet shumë mirë, kur është faza të fillestare pa duk në klinike, ku pacienti është krejtësisht shnosh në pamje të jashtme. Këtu janë qelizat, janë marrë sa qelizat të gjallë për leushemit, shive në qarkullimin e gjakut, kemi qelizat në fazën e ndamjes, të janë limfoplaste, tipike kanceroze. Këtu kemi inde nga tumoret maligne dhe gjatë aplikimit të vaksinës in vitro jashtë, kur bëhet, vëret që fillon shkatrimi i këtyre qelizave mbas 24 orëve, 48 orëve dhe i realizon i shkerin qelizat. Nësa këtu provat e këtij poliantigeni rezulton këtu. Për shembull kemi ja këta vjet që ndahen kur futet për shembull antigeni në qendër, kemi edhe këtu kemi serume pozitive, fillon për herë fillon kjo rozeta. Kjo quhet metoda e gjel agarit në kontrollin diagnostik. Edhe këtu janë kur serumet janë antigeni jashtë, edhe këtu janë serumet me anë, serumet pozitive, edhe janë degët e saktimit serumit.
What about the chemical medicament with a wide curing spectrum? This is also a new chemical structure. This medicament contains high biological and curative values for the antibacterial and antiviral diseases used by hundreds and thousands of patients from 1955 up to now. Dr. Kraja is 72 years old. After graduating from Medical Polytechnicum studies at the University of Tirana in 1955, he courageously started his research studies on the biomedicine. His long-running experience of 53 years in this field has been painful rather than satisfying. He told that his only satisfying moments were when he treated cancer patients felt much better. Bringing back to his mind such moments, he selected from his archive 2 of his treated cancer patients' testimonials many years ago. The first declaration dates back on the 18th of September 1966 and is signed by Beshir B. Shaba Postrib with the ID number 141800 of the Republic of Albania. In 1957, this patient had a cancer lesion on his ear. After being unsuccessfully treated by many physicians at the hospitals of Shkodër and Tirana, he totally recuperated only as a result of a 4-month treatment by Dr. Kraja. The second declaration dates back on the 20th of September 1966 and belongs to Tahir Dragovoja Bachalak Shkodër with the ID number 012429. In 1950, he was diagnosed with a frontal cancer and has been even raided for 2 weeks at the hospital of Tirana, but unsuccessfully. Then in 1954, this 75 years old man was treated and fully recovered by Dr. Shuajp Kraja. Neither imprisonment did stop Kraja's determination to combat cancer. First, he was convicted for some months in 1966. Then, he was reconvicted for 4 years in 1972. He was accused of having revealed a state secret because he managed to send a letter in Japan through a friend of his. In that letter, sent to the executive director of scientific medical research, Dr. Kraja expressed his critic views on a medicament that the Japan director claimed to cure the cancer diseases. Thus, Dr. Shuajp Kraja has the status of a political ex-convict dating back on the 10th of October 1994, Article B, number 572, confirmed by the Political Ex-Convicts Commission in Tirana. Although he fully remembers his past experience in the war against cancer, Dr. Kraja is reluctant to bring back the conviction years, emphasizing that he is no longer resentful. After his discharge in 1976, he was invited to collaborate in the production of the human anti-gene. He also told us about the scientific confrontation he has had with the Minister of Health during those years, Lambi Zechishte.
Pakthejmë në 76. Ka kenë janar. S'kishe pak mujtë që dal nga burgu. Kërkohëm direkt nga fakulteti që të prodhoj antigenin e njerëzve. Ta ishi një grup dashamirës të mitë, me që kështë punuat në sektorin e kështë përru në sektorin genetikës, më hafron indjeri do shefi katedrës të biologjisë, kimisë edhe farmakologjisë të fakultetit mjekësisë, Petrit.
Let us travel back to January 1976. After being discharged, I was called by the Department of Medical Studies at the University of Tirana. My ex-colleagues and my friends and the Dean of the Department of the Biological, Chemical and Pharmacological Studies, Dr. Petrit Kokolari, invited me to collaborate in order to produce the antigen in humans. Actually, they were ordered by the minister, Lambi Zechishte. I produced the human antigen, which was examined by the commission of the Directory of Hospital No. 1 in Tirana. The commission was composed of 15 members: the deans of the Department of Medical Studies, the Department of the Veterinary Studies, the Dean of the Stomatological Studies Department, Dr Shuajp, the Director of the Oncologic Department, and the Vice President, and so on. From 8 a.m., I examined 400 of various blood serums from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. All analysis results of the blood serums proved to be the same as those analysis results previously concluded by the biologists in other hospitals. Finally, the members of the commission, such as Dr. Kokolari, congratulated and appraised my work. The next day, Dr. Kokolari and I met with the Minister of Health, who allowed me to practice my profession. Then, full suspense.
Të gjitha analizat ishin përputhuna me ata që kishin marrë ata ne. Pa di gjë. Kishte dalë një nga dhurimi i gjakut pozitiv, që është infektuar me kancer. Edhe më thanë, shife mirë, mos i bëj smur. Kurse onkologjia kishin marrë 100 kampioni, 200 tan pozitiv. Se kishin marrë onkologjia, zgjidhja u kanë marrë ata. Mori kanë përsërit disa herë, prep pozitiva. Ka dalë Petrit Kokolari bashkë me një gojar të cerkut që ishte histopatologjisë, kanë përtit midis drejtorin e spitalit, tu në vetë mësë arit, i dhanë meritat të jashtëzakonshme punës. Një tatë ministri që ishte në Francë, sa erë ministri, më thiri mua dhe Petrit Kokolari, të dy. I tha, ky ka thënë burg politik, ku të fusim me ty në burg politik. Për gjithse janë antar partijet, e familja e mirë që në kastrite, të të rrasë mratë. Atë ditë mos e në qonë smurë dhe në vinë, në thoi që jam i smurë me kanë se bërin derman. Po bëm derman, i thash, shke për punë. Po sa mi e bën tuberkulozimin, mos të di, thash. I bën mantun njerëzve, për ka tuberkulos, atë në fund filan me mjeku me antibiotik, me nikodimina, profilaksi. E ju dy bën Shqipnisë. Po, atëherë, çka kanë këmes? E marrën në përsipër disiplinizimin e saj. Nuk gojnë, tha. Nuk gojnë e mos marrë këtë punë. I kanë mërën, puna aty ku të ka punë të shteti, për puna se ke punu analistët, në gjë, për një të punë që ke bo, edhe marrë mos marrë këtë punë. E mjolli. Pra shka ja paus. Dersa e rristu.
What is the main feature of the human antigene produced by Dr. Kraja and patented in Germany after 31 years?
Bën kur bjen me genet e tumorit, forman antitrupat, edhe forman persecutim.
This antigene acts in the tumor cells by producing the antibodies which totally destroy the tumor cells. This is a very important process which enables us to make preclinical diagnosis of cancer. It is very important to detect cancer since its early stages in order to be destroyed without obstacles.
Ashtë para terapisë, edhe siguron jashtëzakonisht një mbrojtje të madhe. Pra, sot për shembull, ky e diagnostikon dhe e ngjan ta mjekosh herët.
This record of 3 pages dates back to November 19, 1983 and is signed by Shuajp Kraja, biologist, Fatmir Ostreni, a scientific candidate, and the commission composed of the representative of the Ministry of Agriculture, Minella Konomi, and the representatives of the Veterinary Research Institution, Leonora Mici, Yasemin Beyleri, Raymond Konomi, and Chazin Kashari. It is a summarized report on the chemical process of the diagnostic antigen of the enzotic leukocyte bodies, which is directly used in the cow's blood to combat cancer. Even though author of this invention already appraised by the scientific commission, Dr. Kraja was denied the PhD degree in the science of medicine. It was finally produced, and it was proved to have higher qualities than those produced abroad in Italy or the United States of America. It was through this scientific project that I was supposed to receive the PhD degree in sciences by the scientific committee in Albania. It was an international success, an international project, but I never received that scientific PhD degree because I was considered an enemy by the regime and the political institutions. This is a medical treatment of great importance to the sciences throughout the world. Reluctant to speak about his past, Dr. Kraja says, "It is a waste of time to re-experience the past. Let us try to think about what we can do for the present and for the future." He can't help speaking about his studies on cancer disease. He pleasantly answered to our questions, thus clarifying.
Ka rëndësi për shkencën këtu për arsye se këtu nuk bëhet flakja.
In what ways will be the B-vaccine treatment carried out?
Kjo vaksinë që është e gjallë, se e bëjmë dy rrugë, në rrugën e gjallë edhe në rrugën e liofilizuar, që quhet rruga vdekur, që bëjnë vaksinat e zakonshme. Rruga e gjallë ka gatshëm do të freskët.
This vaccine is injected in 2 ways, in the alive way and in the dead way. Through the alive way, 5 milliliters to 10 milliliters of anatoxin and lymphocytes act directly in the blood through a serum. This is used in very grave cases, and the patient starts getting better immediately. 1 milliliter of these substances contains 2 million of active cells. and 10 milliliters of these substances contain 20 million of active cells acting directly against the cancerous cells. A dose is taken every 2 weeks until the patient is fully recuperated. Whereas the second way has to do with the usual injection of these substances. The first dose contains 1 or 2 milliliters of chemical substances depending on the disease stage, first or second or third stage. There are 3 seances for 3 months. After a year of interruption, it is re-injected the first dose of 1 millimeter. Then, after 2 years of interruption, it is injected the remainder dose or the second dose of 2 milliliters, divided into 1 milliliter injections for each month. The result is the full recovery of the cancer patients. What is the cost of this B vaccine treatment? It has very high cost. As a result, only rich people can buy it. I restate that my great wish is and will always be that this treatment be free. That means without any financial charge for the patients in Albania. Does the B vaccine treatment prevent the cancer diseases? The B vaccine has both prophylactic and curative effects. The prophylactic effect is important at 50 plus 1%, as it enables us to detect cancer preclinically. This is the first vaccine with such effects in the world. Obviously, this is the Achilles heel in the war against cancer. We will work in 3 ways: treatment, prophylaxis, and preclinical diagnosis, thus ending up with a cancer triad. During the last year, Dr. Kraja persistently solicited support not only to the Ministry of Education and Sciences and to the Ministry of Health, but also to the President in order to put into practice the B vaccine treatment in Albania. Finally, there is a ray of hope. On the 4th of July 2008, the Minister of Health, Narten Doka, addressed to the Director of the National Medical Ethics Committee, Miftar Barbulushi. You will also find Dr. Shuajp Kraja's solicitation for support in order to put into practice his 2 patented projects by the European Scientific Commission and appraised as innovations in the field of medicines. More specifically, the patent of the heterologous anti-cancer B vaccine and the other patent of the chemical medicament with a wide curing spectrum in the human medicine. After a careful examination, the conclusions of the National Medical Ethics Committee should be sent back to the Ministry of Health. On the 22nd of July, Professor Miftar Barbulushi, the Director of the National Medical Ethics Committee, answered to the Minister of Health. Dear Sir, after a careful examination of Mr. Shuajp Kraja's solicitation and evidence, the National Medical Ethics Committee reached the following conclusion. Research on anti-cancer therapies and also on the antibacterial and antiviral diseases is in the focus of the biological and medical sciences. There are thousands of scientists throughout the world engaged in such research, which is financed by governments, public and private institutions. The National Medical Ethics Committee, whose main goal is neither the scientific nor the financial examination of medical studies, though, judges that such projects should be fully supported. The National Medical Ethics Committee is fully willing to collaborate with Dr. Kraja whenever necessary to carry out clinical studies on people. Emphasizing our positive opinion on these projects, the National Medical Ethics Committee would like to congratulate Dr. Kraja on his 2 projects.
Ciò sono testi e fusën problem te, ne jemi të kalu. Jemi të kalu, për arsye se ne prodhojmë edhe çana që prodhojmë te.
Now, it is only the Ministry of Health which definitively will decide on the future of these projects in Albania. It is totally impossible for Dr. Kraja to put into practice his studies without the financial support by the government. He reminds us that he has spent approximately 100,000 euros from 2003 up to now. His research studies were partially financed by the sales of the transgenic maize seeds and partially by the help of his friends and his sons, thus fully taking advantage of all his possible resources. Nevertheless, he still hopes that the governmental bodies will seriously take into consideration his solicitation for financial support to put into practice his project. I trust Dr. Sali Berisha because he is a scientist himself and thus he will take the right decision. I trust the President of Albania too because he was graduated in veterinary studies and we know that veterinary studies are all included in the medical studies. I also trust in Josefina Topale, my ex-colleague in the maize and rice institutions, and a political ex-convict like me. Re-emphasizing his wish to accomplish his project in Albania, Dr. Kraja states that this does not mean to wait in eternity. If my project will not be supported in Albania, I will have then to look for collaboration abroad. I really regret the fact that the famous Albanian scientists of all fields are giving their contributions abroad. I wish to practice my project primarily in Albania. It is of special interest for us to emphasize the last 2 invitations. The first invitation you are now watching on TV is addressed to Dr. Kraja to attend the International Congress organized by Euro Bioforum Foundation from September 17 to 19, 2008 in France. This Congress will focus on the issues such as the danger to cancer diseases, cancer development, and the financial support for anti-cancer projects. The second invitation comes from Florida, the United States of America. From the 30th of October to the 1st of November, Dr. Kraja is invited to attend a scientific meeting organized by the Clinical Union Organization America, Europe, Asia, dealing with molecular studies on cancer, a possible immune treatment against cancer, and the possible production of an anti-gene which can detect cancer since in the embryo in humans. Dr. Kraja does not think about stopping his research work in the field of the biotechnological medicine. 2 other patents are being examined internationally. The first patent has to do with the heterologous anti-gene for the preclinical diagnosis of cancer, whereas the second patent focuses on the biotechnological changes made to agricultural seeds such as maize, corn, rice, potato, sunflower, tobacco, and so on. He wrote to the Scientific Council of the Ministry of Education and Health on the 22nd of April 2008. Until my last breath shall I stop my research work in this field after 53 years of devotion.
Unë I propozohë Ministrisë së Arshiveve Shkencës për këtë punë. Po ja tjetër, mbledh këtë dushëm, këtë shefti, bjerë aty. Men ky ata që mendon që i ke më të mirë, vjen diskutoj. Unë për këtë s'kam pas frikë kohën në partisë punësëm. Kur ka kanë korrigjuar ministrisë kam dalë aty.
I even suggested to the actual Minister of Health to raise a commission for scientific confrontations. I am able to advocate my project without fear or hesitation, as I have already done in front of the European Commissions and even in front of the scientific commissions of the communist regime. Through this documentary, we did not aim at affecting or convincing anybody on Dr. Kraja's scientific research work, as it is not the